Social Security is actually a better benefit than you might think. Crazy, huh? And I can hear it now. The negative Nellies, the trolls. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Social Security, they're giving the money to the legal immigrants, blah, blah, blah. Huh? Welcome to the world of government finance. Everything's a Ponzi scheme. I had a guy comment yesterday on my channel and said, the government is broke. I said, it's always been broke, dude. When has the government not been broke? Come on. We had, 2-3 years of budget surpluses under a Republican Congress in the late 90s. That's it, dude. The government's been spending more than been taken in forever. Thus, it's a Ponzi scheme. They're spending money today on the backs of future contributors. That's just the way it works. All right. But be it as it may, it is legal, and that this is the world we're operating in. All right. Now, the drawback about Social Security, where the legitimate argument would be, is that they only take the top 35 years of your average, of your indexed earnings. I grant you that. So if you work 40 years, only 35 years of those are included in your Social Security benefit, yet you pay taxes for 40 years. Thus, you pay taxes for an extra 5 years for which you're not getting a benefit for. I get that, but they reduce your, that is not as drastic as it might seem, because they take your top 35 years of index earnings. So I made, I don't know, $300 in 1984 washing dishes, if that makes sense. Yes, that won't be, and I don't know, I probably pay $8 in taxes. That will not be included in my Social Security benefit. I grant you that $8 in taxes is worth the equivalent of $60 today. Okay, well, whoop-de-doo. Not a big deal. So I lose those 5 years or 10 years or 2 years or no years. That is an issue. For the most of us, it's not that big of an issue. It's just not. And I grant you, there are some people who say, man, I was making good money from 25 to 60. That's, what's that, 35 years, right? Yeah, 25 to 60. But I was making good money from 25 to 65. So 5 of those years I wasn't getting paid for Social Security and I had to pay taxes. Well, welcome to the nature of government finance. All right, so let's go into this thing right quick. This is the Social Security Average Wage Indexing Series. The series is what they use to calculate the earnings of individuals for benefit computation purposes. We use the series to index several amounts that are important to the operation of Old Age Survivor and Disability Program as well, OASDI. You might be familiar with that. So they're using the AWI, the National Average Wage Indexing, to give you a gauge of how much your Social Security benefit is going to be. So what I want to do here, let me share with you real quick. What happens is they use the AWI amounts up until you're the age of 60, and then they use the cost of living amounts once they simply say your Social Security benefit will grow by the COLAs, cost of living adjustment. Your Social Security benefit, I hate to say grow, but it's indexed based on the AWI, and that's important. So once you're 60, it's COLA. Before 60, it's AWI. So what we're going to do is just going to take our trusty calculator here, our trusty software. In 1980, the average wage index, the amount was $12,513. That's the average wage index. The average wage was $12,513. We're going to take that. We're going to go over here to all items, prices for all items. We're going to say that exact amount in 1980 was $12,513. We're going to put start year. We're going to put end year 2019 because the other software, does this actually, maybe it does. Hold on a second. Does this have 2019? Only goes to 2019. All right, cool. That's fine. So we're going to use this and we're going to say, okay, 2019. How much, if I had $12,513 of earnings, let's pretend I have no taxes or anything, how much is that in the equivalent to buy things from an inflation perspective in today's dollars at the end of 2019? Hope that makes sense. All right, so between 1980 and 2019, all items experienced an average inflation rate of 2.95. All items. This rate of change indicates significant inflation. In other words, all items costing $12,513 in 1980 would cost $38,821 in 2019. What's that, 40 years later? Yeah. All right, so compared to the overall inflation rate of 2.95, okay, gotcha. So basically, what that's saying is it costs 2.95 increase in the cost of all items. I hope that makes sense. However, what did your AWI increase to? Your average wage. So the average wage in 1980 was $12,513. We scroll down to 2019 is $54,099. So the average wage was $54,000, my friends. $54,000. So to keep up with inflation, I just need to have 38,000. I hope that, we'll just say 40 for simplicity. I hope that makes sense. So I have 54 and I needed to have 40, right? And so what does that mean? That means that the AWI was significantly higher than inflation. All right, now let's look at AWI compared to cost of living adjustments. We'll start in 1980. COLA and for Social Security is 14.3 in 1980. AWI was significantly less than that. AWI was 9.01. Yikes. But then we start looking. Let's go to, we'll pick a random. 1986, AWI 2.97. 1986, COLA, cost of living, 3.1. So you're like, Josh, COLAs are better than AWI. Well, let's see. 1985, 3.5 for cost of living. 1985, 4.26 for AWI. 1987, 6.38 for AWI. 1987 was for COLA 1.3. Interesting. 1988, 4.2 for COLA. 1988, 4.93 for AWI. And I've already done all this, but 1996, 4.89 for AWI. 1996, cost of living adjustment 2.6. 97, 2.9. 98, 2.1. All right, 97, 5.8, 5.2. What's happening here is the average wage indexing of which your Social Security benefits are based on. They're not based on COLA. COLA is just a rise once you hit 60, but your benefit is based on the AWI. The AWI is significantly higher historically than the cost of living adjustments. That, my friends, is just a fact. And as such, the indexing amount for which they give you your basis for your Social Security, your PIA, primary insurance amount, is significantly higher because they're using the AWI than they would if they use a cost of living adjustment. I'm telling you. On top of that, your AWI, if true, you can challenge, it's fake, bull crap, fake news, right? Maybe. But you could simply say my AWI has risen significantly higher than the cost of living has in terms of prices. Does that not mean something? Of course it does. So again, if I needed 12,000 in 1980 is now the equivalent of $54,000 of earnings today. What does that mean? Yet that 12,000 it only buys me 30. That 12,000 buys me 38,000 in 2019, which means I have an extra. What's that? $14,000 to play with. Again, this doesn't include taxes. I get all that. One, it doesn't include 401k, but we're talking about average wage earnings. Now, it's even better. I want to point some out here. This is even better than you think. How the census measures poverty. I'll probably do a separate video on this later on. Money income used to compute poverty status. Earnings, all this stuff. Pension, interest, other miscellaneous sources, child support. Nothing for gifts, which is interesting. Maybe that falls under other miscellaneous sources. I presume it does. Social Security, SSI, all right, that's a poor man's Social Security essentially. Unemployment, rents, royalties, dividends. But what's weird? Dividends and interest are in here, but it's not capital gains or losses. It's not tax credits. And EITC is a big tax credit for lower income people. That could be 10% of their income in some regard. But you know what the big one is not in poverty? Non-cash benefits, food stamps and housing. Not just food stamps and housing. Let's just keep going. Non-cash benefits. So we're going to go down to say, I think it was up here actually. Public housing, Medicaid, and food stamps. Housing, food stamps, and Medicaid, i.e. transfer payments, are not included in poverty. They're not. So when you hear about the poverty rate that this, I think I got it right here, 12.3%, remember that does not include Medicaid, food stamps, and housing. Most transfer payments. Social Security is included because Social Security is an earned benefit, not a transfer payment. Actually, I don't know how they would include Medicare. Because Medicare, you're paying, Part A, you've paid for, so I don't know how they would do that. But isn't that interesting? Capital gains or losses not included in income, which also is not included in the way they measure income. Non-cash benefits, food stamps, housing assistance, Medicaid, tax credits. Interesting, huh? So the point being is here was when it comes back to Social Security, let's pick out another random number. We'll say average wage index in, we'll say 1988. And we're just going to go to 1989. 1988, 19,334 was the average wage index. In 1988, and we'll say in 1988 and 1989, So if I needed $19,334 in 1988 to buy all items, I needed $20,267 in 1989 to buy all items. And what did I say? 20,000. What is it? 20,267. And the AWI is I had 20,000. So in 1988 to 1989, I was a little bit lacking. All right, because I had went from the AWI went from 19,334 to 20,099. Then it went to 21,027. So let's see what this is. 21,027. We'll go to 1990. 1990. 21,027. Let's see, we're here. So right here, we got a couple years. So the cost of living was actually higher than AWI, but it's simply not true over most of the indexing numbers there. Indexing has been significantly higher than cost. You can do the premiums here. I've done. I mean, the numbers for yourself. I've done it. I got a spreadsheet for it. I'm just not going to bring it up because I got so many doggone spreadsheets I can't find them. But it's interesting. You say, okay, I want AWI as my basis for Social Security to be determined, and it is, and it's much higher than cost of living. And as such, your earnings as average wage has been growing higher than general inflation as well. Now you can say, well, these inflation numbers are wrong. What I love about this chart is, okay, let's go to a new truck. All right, let's literally look at a new truck. $25,000 in 1983. How much does it cost now? It cost $39,000 now for a new truck. Is that true? You can look it up. Now, a new truck can consist of a lot of different things, but the trucks there are certainly better engineered, better designed, with more bells and whistles than they were in 1983. That's just a fact. So you said, what kind of truck could I get in that 2021? I'll let you figure that out. I mean, maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. All right, we'll go to bread. This is even, you can even go here and say, cost $5 for bread in 1997. What does it cost for bread now? It costs $9.57. As bread, you can even look at newspapers.com. I think I have my newspapers. I guess I don't. I don't have my newspapers.com subscription up, but you can look. Say, okay, look at a flyer from 1997. See how much bread costs and see how much it costs now, man. I mean, it's not that difficult. Let's see, full list of CPI categories. Here we go. Let's go to, I don't know. I said bread. Let's go to, everyone's always like milk. Milk is a little bit different because there is some issues in there in terms of the great, the Wisconsin compact is the Wisconsin. I think it's the Wisconsin compact. It's nuts how they, the government has their hands in everything. Let's just put it that way. It's freaking insane. Milk right there, 1997 and 2021. So let's I have no idea what a gallon of milk costs today. Amount for $1 in 1997. I think it's $3 today, $4. It cost $1.50 today. And you can see significant decline in some of these years. So, I mean, I don't know, $3 a gallon in 1997. It cost $4.49 today. All right, that's about right. That's probably about right. It was 1.69. It is either correct or it's not. Did it cost $3 per gallon? All you got to do is look at your flyer and your local ads that you can see in your own hometown newspaper. Say, what did a gallon of milk cost in 1997? Look at it for real. You plug into this thing right here. You say, okay, it actually says it costs $2.69. All right. Then you plug it. You say $2.69, and then you plug it in 1997. What does it cost now? And is it $4.02 now? I think it's probably about right. You can do that with all these numbers, man. Wireless telephone. I mean, it's just, you can do it with all of them. It's crazy. So that's what I like. Anyway, there's good news on Social Security. You actually get a better benefit than you think because they're using the average wage indexing series as opposed to COLA. I'm just telling you right there. The proof, my friends, is in the pudding. You just got to be willing to admit it. All right, we'll see you.